I would say like the number one class that every PA school requires is... Hey guys, welcome back to this week's video. It's Ava and I make videos about the journey to becoming a PA. I'm currently going into my third year of college and I'm a pre-PA student. And this channel is focused on the journey from pre-PA all the way to PAC. So in this week's video, I'm going to be discussing classes that you should take if you're a pre-PA student. So I have my laptop pulled up right here with all the classes that I've taken so far, and I'm also going to go into depth about like the classes that I plan to take. But the first thing that I want to say is in regards to classes that you... Did you guys see that thing just float? I don't know what it was. But anyways, in regards to classes that you should be taking for PA to get into PA school, the first thing I want to say is look into the schools that you want to apply for. Every school requires different classes, and I know it's kind of a hassle because one school that you're really interested in might only require you to take chemistry up to organic chem 1, but another school that you are interested in might require you to take organic chemistry 2. So you really want to make sure that you are looking at what each school requires. Something that I recommend that I did my freshman year was to just kind of figure out kind of where I wanted to go to PA school. And I don't mean a specific school, I mean kind of like what state I wanted to pursue my education in. So for me, I either want to stay here in Connecticut, go to South Carolina, or go to North Carolina. Those are like my top 3 places right now, and of course that can always change. I might change my mind tomorrow, I might change my mind in 3 months. I don't know. Life is crazy. You never know what can happen. But for me, those are the top 3 states that I'm looking at, and then kind of get a feel for what schools are in those states and get a feel for what those schools' prereqs are, because more likely than not, if I want to go to school in Connecticut, I'm going to be applying to the PA schools in Connecticut. So you kind of want to look at the schools in that state, and it doesn't have to be every single school, but look at the schools that you are most likely going to be applying to and write out those prereqs. Make an Excel sheet. What I did is I made an Excel sheet with every single school that I'm considering applying to, or that interested me, or that was in a location that I liked, or when I went on their website, I really valued their mission statement, or something about that school really appealed to me. I put every single one of those schools in an Excel sheet, and I wrote out every single one of their prerequisite requirements, and I compared every single school side by side, and I said, okay, this school, so like for example, I was looking at the Medical University of South Carolina. They require you to take a medical terminology class, which I don't think any of the other schools I was looking at require. So that's something about that school that's like, okay, if I really want to apply there, I'm going to have to go out of my way to take that class when none of my other schools require it. So that's just something I recommend doing, is creating an Excel sheet, and I actually plan on making a separate video about how I did that. But if you want to get started on that now, I know that Duke University, it's in North Carolina, if you go to their website, their PA school website, they actually, it's a little bit hard to find, I'll see if I can link it below, but they actually have an Excel sheet on their website, which has all of Duke's requirements already listed in it, and then it has other columns for you to fill in requirements for other schools that you're looking for, and that's a really useful tool that I will look at. So that's just kind of my disclaimer before I get into the video on my personal opinions on what I think are classes that you definitely should take. But yeah, that's just my disclaimer. Make sure you look at the prereqs for the schools that you're applying to, because those are classes that you 1,000,000% must take in order to get into those schools. There's really no wiggle room. Like, if you don't take one of the classes that they require, I highly doubt that they would even consider you as an applicant, because they want you and need you to have those courses. So that's the first thing that I want to say. Hey guys, it's me. I'm just popping in really quick while I edit to let you guys know that there's a poll at the end of the video regarding future content, and it would be really useful if you guys stayed to the end to take part in that poll. It would really help my channel. And if you guys can hear the rain, I'm really sorry. What are these little things that keep flying around? I know you guys see that. Like, what is that? Where are they coming from? I don't know. So the first one, everybody is going to have to take biology. At my school, it's called Concepts to Biology. At your school, it might be Intro to Biology. I don't know what it's called. Every school has a different name. But it's just like general biology, like, you know, basic, starting, first year biology. And you want to take 1 and 2. I recommend taking both classes. I know some PA schools I look at, they don't like require part 1 and part 2. They only require part 1, or they'll say like they require part 1 and then they require like 16 other credits of other bio electives. I just recommend taking part 1 and part 2 if that's an option for you, and of course take the labs with both. If you're going to be taking a class that has a lab with it, try not to opt out of the lab. The material you learn in lab is actually useful. I find it more useful than the lectures because you're getting that hands-on experience. You're really getting your money's worth out of the lab because you're physically doing what you're learning. So I definitely recommend always taking the lab. So I would say you definitely need to take Bio 1 and Bio 2. Highly recommend. The next classes that I have here are anatomy. So at my school, we do anatomy and physiology. It's like one class. So we have part 1 and part 2. I know some schools do like just human anatomy, and then a whole separate class is human physiology. It just depends how your school does it. So if your school does it separate, like 3 credits is just human anatomy and 3 credits is just human physiology, yes, take both of those. Most PA schools require, I can't think of one PA school that doesn't require A&P. My school and a lot of other schools do it as A&P, so it's anatomy and physiology part 1 and anatomy and physiology part 2. Take both of those, take the labs. I would say like the number 1 class that every PA school requires is A&P. And I can tell you why. It's because that is your first really in-depth look at how the human body works. You start to learn about diseases, and you know, it's really a good intro. And if you don't like A&P, then maybe the PA profession is not for you. I loved A&P. It was my favorite class I've ever taken. Sorry guys, there was like a random knock at the door. But anyways, yeah, A&P is my favorite class I've ever taken. You need to take it for PA school. I 1,000,000% recommend. Next class that I have here that my school requires is microbiome. And I haven't taken microbiome yet, so I can't really tell you much about it. Once I take it, I'll let you guys know how it is. But a lot of PA schools that I've looked at do not require microbiome. It might be like a bonus that you've taken it, but it's not required. Now, it might, if you're a biology major, like for me, it's also required for my major, so I have to take it regardless of, you know, if it's needed for PA school or not, because I need it for my major in order to graduate. But if it's not required for your major, then I would definitely look into it and see if it's either a class that interests you and you want to take as an elective, or 2, if you're not really that interested in it and you don't really want to take it, I would look and make sure that none of the PA schools you're applying to require it. And if they don't require it, then you don't necessarily have to take it. And I will say, if a PA school recommends a class, but it's not required, take that class, because it shows that you went like that extra step to have a class that they recommend, or to, you know, further your education, like that extra step. So if it says it recommends it, but it doesn't require it, just take the class. It's not going to kill you. Just take the class. Up, we have the chemistries. So most PA schools require at least up to organic chemistry 1. To get there, you have to take Gen Chem 1, you have to take Gen Chem 2, and you have to take the labs. So you definitely have to take Gen Chem 1 and 2. Again, I haven't heard of a PA school that doesn't require organic chem. Definitely take it, and take it with the lab. You actually learn a lot of useful skills in the orgo lab. You learn like how to run a whole bunch of different tests that are really useful. Next is Orgo 2. So not every PA school requires Orgo 2. A lot of them do require it, but a lot of them also don't. It really depends. If you're not the best at chemistry, I would maybe apply to PA schools where, you know, Orgo 2 isn't required, because you don't want to take a class that's just going to tank your GPA. If you are really, you know, that bad at chemistry that you're really concerned about taking another semester of it and ruining your GPA, or not ruining it, but, you know, getting a grade that's going to lower your GPA, or getting a grade that might not reflect the type of student you actually are, I would recommend, looking into PA schools where Orgo 2 is not required, so that you don't have to take that extra semester of chemistry. But if you are okay with chemistry, or you know, do want to go to a PA school where Orgo 1 and 2 is required, then obviously you need to take the course. And again, I took Orgo 2. I didn't think it was that bad. The lab was actually really useful. You learn a lot of valuable information, and so I highly recommend. So the next course is biochemistry. I'm taking biochemistry this upcoming semester, and not a lot of PA schools require it. Some do, select few do. I think only a handful of the PA schools that I've looked into require it. The PA school at my college does require it, so I am going to be taking it because I am going to be applying to that PA school. But it's not required everywhere, and it's not required in a bunch of places. But, you know, obviously if you want to apply to a school, like I've been saying this whole video, if you want to apply to a school where biochemistry is required, then you're going to need to take biochemistry with the lab. It's that simple. But again, like I said, for Orgo 2, if you don't think chemistry is your strong suit and you don't want to risk ruining your GPA or lowering it or getting a grade that's not reflective of who you are, you know, whatever, then maybe apply to schools where it's not required, and then you don't have to take it. So the next class that I think pretty much every PA school requires is statistics. And yeah, pretty much every PA school requires statistics. You have to take it, I'm pretty sure. And I'm pretty sure even if you don't have to take it for PA school, your major or your school is going to require you to take statistics. So just take it. It's not that bad from what I remember. Yeah. And then the last class that not every PA school requires you to take this, but psychology is a really common class that's required as a prereq for PA school. But you really want to look at each school individually, because some schools, they want you to take developmental psych. Some schools, you know, only require intro to psych. Some schools only require abnormal psych. It really depends on the school. I took intro to psych because majority of the schools that I looked at, they only required intro to psych, but I recommend at least taking one psych class and really choosing which class it is wisely. I would look at the schools that you want to apply to or that you are interested in applying to, and I would say, okay, 5 of these schools require abnormal psych, 1 school requires developmental psych. I mean, obviously at that point you should take abnormal psych, because 5 of the schools you're interested in require abnormal psych. And then along the road, if you have space in your schedule and you're still interested in that school that does require developmental psych, then maybe you could take developmental psych and still be able to apply to that school. You know? Those are all the classes that I 1,000,000% recommend taking if you are a pre-PA student. Now, I also recommend taking bio electives that interest you, because these electives might help you figure out what type of specialty you want to be in the future. If you're taking a class that's really interesting and it has like a specific title, so like at my school we have cancer biology. So if I took cancer biology and I fell in love with it, I fell in love with the science behind cancer and, you know, everything that I learned about, then maybe I will start to think about becoming an oncology PA in the future. Or if you take a class, like any class, and you love it, then maybe you want to think about specializing in that topic. So I really highly recommend, once you get all your prereqs out of the way and you get into your upper class years and you have more room in your schedule for electives, I recommend taking electives that you might be considering as specialties in the future. So that's just my piece of advice for you. I hope that you guys got something useful out of this video. Make sure to give a thumbs up. It really helps my channel, especially because I'm a very small channel right now. So just a thumbs up really helps to push the content out so more people can see it. Actually, let's make this like a poll. Would you rather see, what video would you rather see? How I'm graduating college in 3 years instead of 4, or the opportunities that I'm taking and how I am finding these opportunities and how you guys can find opportunities. So let me know what video you'd rather see. So again, thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Please, 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 please. It really helps my channel. It really helps push my content out there for other people to see. And that's all I want to do, is help educate people and take you guys along on this journey with me. Once school starts up again, or once my summer classes start, I want to start doing like vlogs and doing like week in my life as a week in my life as a pre-PA student, stuff like that. So just please help my channel grow. Make sure you share this with anybody that you know, anybody that you think might find this information useful. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a comment and I'll definitely get back to you. Yeah, thanks for watching.